There lived a boy named Birju in a small village surrounded by lush green fields. His parents worked hard as agricultural laborers, barely making ends meet. Despite financial struggles, Birju found solace in playing amid the rural charm of his village. One day, when Birju was engrossed in sporting activities near his house, he heard the mesmerizing tune of a flute. Out of curiosity, he asked his friend Kishan about the source of the tunes. "Birju, he must be a flute seller," Kishan replied. "He comes to our village every few days to sell his flute." Motivated by curiosity, Birju ran towards music. "Where are you running away, leaving your game incomplete?" Kishan was surprised by Birju's sudden departure. "I can never beat you in this game, so I am going to check with the flute seller," Birju replied confidently, a hint of determination in his voice. After reaching the other end of the street, Birju saw a flute seller. The vendor had on display a range of flutes ranging from simple to ornate. Some were playing in the front, while others stood quietly waiting for the buyer's touch. "How much for these flutes?" Birju asked with his eyes shining with curiosity. A handsome young man with charming eyes replied smilingly, "The front player costs 1 rupee, while the double-tuned one costs 2 rupees. Birju said with a sigh, "But I have only 50 paise." "It's okay, you can take one and pay the rest tomorrow," the flute seller offered generously. "Okay brother, I will take the one playing from the front," Birju accepted gratefully. The seller gave him a beautiful flute, and Birju tried to play it, but struggled to produce a melodious sound. Seeing Birju struggling, the seller demonstrates how to play the flute beautifully, filling the atmosphere with mesmerizing tunes. Giving the flute back to Birju, he said, "The flute is good, you just need practice to play it well." Birju's face lit up with determination as he accepted the challenge of mastering the flute. "Teach me, and I will ensure that my friends also buy flutes from you," Birju promised eagerly. The seller agreed, "Sure, but this is the deal. The flute you bought costs 1 rupee, and I will teach you for free. But for others, you should charge 3 rupees and teach them. This is a win-win deal." The situation is. Over the next few days, Birju diligently learned to play the flute, but his heart remained attached to his village and its simple happiness. One day Birju's father proudly announced, "Son, you have entered school. From tomorrow you will begin your learning journey." Encouraged, Birju started going to school, occasionally seeing a flute seller near the school gate. Birju shared his new passion with his friends and encouraged them to buy flutes and learn with him. Soon, the melodious sound of the flute started echoing in the streets of the village, making everyone happy. As Birju grew up, he pursued higher education and eventually became a doctor. Despite his success, his heart continued to yearn for the simplicity of his rural life and the memories of learning to play the flute. One day, Birju encounters a man who brought him unconscious. "What happened to it?" Birju examined the patient. "He collapsed last night, and we don't know why," the man's son replied curiously. After conducting the tests, Birju approached the man with grave news. "Your father has tuberculosis. Did he take any medicine?" "No, doctor," replied the son. "Okay, let him rest for a week, and then start the medicine. He will recover in a year, but he should not be careless in his treatment," Birju strongly advised. The man hesitated and asked, "Can he still play the flute?" Birju stopped and examined the weak condition of the man's lungs. "Your lungs are weak right now, playing the flute can put pressure on them." Disappointed, Birju walks out of the room and finds the familiar figure of the flute seller lying unconscious on the other bed. "Dad, do you recognize me?" Birju whispered, tears welling up in his eyes. The salesman weakly opened his eyes and smiled, "I taught you to play the flute for free. Now, it's your turn to save your life." Birju's heart was filled with emotions as he realized the depth of the bond shared between them, a bond created through music and compassion. Ultimately, Birju's dedication to his art and his desire to help others reflected the true essence of humanity, a chord that resonates through acts of kindness and selflessness that transcend the barriers of time.